This is our Citizens for Change Dayton interview with President and Chairman of the Jonesboro Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Young. Mr. Young, it's a pleasure to talk with you today.
It's nice to visit with you as well.
We talked earlier about some of the things that make Jonesboro the success that it is economically. Could you just, for our residents up north and our followers, could you just briefly describe what you talked to me about the diversity in Jonesboro itself?
Sure. There's several things that have certainly benefited our community. We're located in a community that is home to Arkansas State University, so having a university presence certainly assists our community because of the quality of workforce that comes from the university. In addition to that, certainly the cultural benefits that they bring to the community is important as well. In addition to that, Jonesboro has an abundance of water, wastewater, and electric capacity, as well as quality for those types of utilities. And that's been really beneficial in our ability to attract certain types of industries. In the late 1980s, one of the types of industries that we targeted was the food sector, and certainly the food companies oftentimes need water, wastewater, and low-cost electric rates. And we've been able to accommodate those, but we've been very methodical in that process and really worked hard to try to secure those kinds of companies that are a good fit for our community, and really have taken the approach of identifying what assets we have and looking at what kind of companies this would complement the best.
Okay. You know, I for one, considering the fact that I grew up in this area, when I come back to visit, I see the new industry, the new businesses that are in town. You briefly spoke about the Nestle plant, came here, what did you say, in 2000?
2001.
And before that you had the Post plant, came in 89, I believe so.
Correct.
What would you say, what role have the citizens played in helping the Jonesboro area become what it is today, the shiny, I mean, pretty much it is an example of what other communities in the state of Arkansas are trying to become. What role have the citizens played in that?
Our citizens have played an extremely important role. One is there's a great sense of pride in our community, and any time a visitor, whether someone's passing through or whether they're evaluating your community as a possible place to do business, I think they can anticipate and understand and see that pride that's in a community. So certainly having that civic pride and that community pride is important. In addition to that, we've had companies who've located here, and even when they're considering locating here, have talked about the warmth and acceptance of the community, and they don't mean necessarily by officials, although that's important as well, but what they mean is whether they're at a retail store or a gas station or somewhere else, they always feel this great sense of welcome in our community. And recently a plant manager who's been here probably for about 2 years made that comment. He said, he was getting his hair cut, and the person said, well, where do you work? And he identified where he worked. And the comment from that individual is, we're so thankful you're here. I appreciate your investment in our community. And you see that time and time again. That's not an isolated experience in our community. So certainly that sense of pride, the welcoming spirit that our community has. And again, our community, whether it's looking at parks or recreational opportunities, etc., our community has always been focused as well on how can we continue to maintain the quality of life that we currently enjoy, and yet at the same time look for ways to improve that quality of life. And there are numerous examples of how our citizens have participated in that improvement of quality of life in our community and continue to do that today.
Awesome. One of the things that we're instituting up there in Dayton, we're going to, like I briefly talked about before, we're going to have a fundraiser for our communities. If you could identify one thing that stands out in Jonesboro for companies, would you say it is the community involvement that appeals to them the most by the citizens, or would you say it is the natural resources of the area, or what stands out the most to these companies that look at Jonesboro?
That's a tough question, because every company that evaluates our location or Dayton as a possible location has a different set of criteria. But I would say that for us, a big part and an important part of what's attracted companies here has been a quality workforce, and a low cost of doing business. We have been able to create a business environment here that's compelling, and we may not always be the right geographic fit for a company, but when you've got good quality workers and workforce, and that goes with the university and the technical center and all the training opportunities that are out there, but when you start with a good quality workforce and you add to that a very cost competitive place to do business, we can present a compelling reason why companies should consider our community. And once they start looking at your community is where that whole community spirit and quality of life comes into play as well. Initially, companies look at us on paper, and you've got to be able to make it through that part of the process to get them to come physically and take a look at your community, and that's where that pride in the community shows. That's where the citizen involvement and participation shows, and that's where that welcoming spirit really comes into play.
And so basically, once you get past the process of selling your city on paper, and you get them to your town or whatever, then the citizen involvement and the pride inside of the communities really comes into play, that those plant managers and prospective people see on a daily basis when they come into your area.
Absolutely. Those folks that are making that business decision of where to locate, they're people as well. They want to go somewhere not only where the company can make money and they can be successful, but they want to go where they're going to be welcomed, where that plant manager and other people that might come with the company are going to feel welcomed, where they can raise a family, enjoy their career and their life, and certainly communities that are able to be attractive in those areas have a leg up in that whole process.
That's good. That's awesome. What one thing would you say, what steps are you taking now to ensure that Jonesboro continues to thrive, not just survive in these tough economic times? Is there anything that you're doing now to set yourself up for success in the future?
We are. Really two things. This will be sort of general, and we can get into the specifics if you like. But we continue to market our community aggressively. We want to tell our story. We want to have the opportunity to visit with site location consultants, to have the opportunity to visit with companies who might consider expansion or location in our part of the country. And so we continue to identify ways to do that, to talk to them about what assets we might have that they could make use of. Second part of that is we continually, as a community, evaluate improvements that need to be made. If there's one certain thing, is that things change, and communities change as well, and you always have to be mindful and vigilant in terms of what areas can we improve, what can we do to really again increase or improve the quality of life long term in our community, in any community. And so we constantly are looking for those items and those issues that we need to pay attention to. You and I spoke earlier, when a company that might consider us chooses another location, we always ask, what could we have done differently? What about our community can we improve upon? So we seek that kind of feedback. And sometimes there's great feedback. Other times the feedback happens to be issues that you can't control. So could be geography based, etc. But we continue to strive to be better.
Awesome. That's key. You want to make sure that you keep these companies here in the area to provide the good quality jobs to the residents and citizens, and you want to be able to make sure that you appeal to them and their wants and needs as well.
You bring up a good point that we've not talked a lot about, but the importance of your existing businesses, the importance of retaining what you already have, trying to identify ways that the business climate can be improved to meet their needs so that they can continue to grow and expand. Lots of different statistics are out there in regards to where new jobs are created, but it's often been said that 70 to 75% of all new jobs are created by existing companies that are already in your community. So it's important to